Week 4 didn't go according to plan in terms of getting the first win of the Kellen Moore era for the New Orleans Saints, but there was a lot to like, and we're going to break it down here on our playback edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast, brought to you by Scott McNair Injury Lawyers. Have been injured in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, hurt offshore, Scott McNair handles it all. You give him a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. They'll always fight for the win. The Saints, like I said, came up short 31-19. The game was a lot closer than the final score kind of indicated, I would say. They really were in this one. About a missed throw away from potentially taking the lead late in the second half. So they had their chances, ultimately didn't get them. But I think there's so many bright spots to take away from this game. And I think, well, let's just kind of jump into it and talk about the main takeaway for me is that Jonas Sanker finally, and I know that's unfair to say finally, but I got high hopes for this kid. I really think he could be a special player for the Saints defense, had that breakout game that we're looking for. And, the final stat line was tremendous. He had 2 pass breakups, had an interception, and just was all over the field making plays. And you just see that football IQ on full display. So let's jump into it here. This was in the first half. You got man coverage across the board here. Sanker, the one safety deep, and just great recognition. Also great range, by the way, to get there and make the play with the throw intended for Keon Coleman there. We'll just kind of let it play in full, and then I'll go back to it. But just an exceptional play right there. Great catch, by the way, too, in traffic by the rookie safety. So love the sideline reaction, by the way. They're fired up. But as you see, I always said about Sanker, if you go back to his Virginia tape, I said it felt like he was cleaning up everyone's mess. It just felt that way every week. And I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus here, but it's kind of funny how in this moment, Keon Coleman's got the edge on his man. He beats his man there, and he's got the opportunity to make a big play for the Bills, or at least you think. But look at the gap that Sanker closes between him and Coleman right there. I mean, the ball's already released from Josh Allen's hands. But just a phenomenal play there by the rookie safety. Phenomenal job holding on to it, by the way, in traffic as well. He's just an exceptional talent. Here you'll see him matched up against Dawson Knox, and just a great play. Just a really, really great play. And then also matched up here against Kincaid, one of the better tight ends in this league. Another great pass breakup. And I want to mention, by the way, we talk about the interception and how special it was for Sanker, and I'll go back to it in just a sec so we can kind of go through his top 3 plays here. You see the great range on display with the interception there. The pass breakups to me were almost as impressive because you're matched up against very, very physical tight ends, great options that the Bills have at that position. And it's very easy to kind of wrap your off arm around the waist of the tight end in that moment and then pick up an easy flag for the refs to kind of do. But for him to be able to elevate with that one arm, get up there while not holding on to the tight end, I think that's just excellent, excellent play by him. Great awareness and just great technique from the rookie in his 4th career game. So he really stepped up to the challenge. I was very impressed with him. Let's go to Spencer Rattler here. We're going to get into the bad in a little bit. And I didn't think Rattler had a bad game. So I want to point that out and make that clear. I thought Rattler had a fine start. I actually think Rattler, especially in the second half, I was like, man, he's gaining confidence and he looks really in control. And then obviously there's a couple throws that you want back. And we went in depth about the Brandon Cooks throw and how, man, you hit that one. Maybe we're talking about this game completely different. We're definitely talking about his start in a different light. But this one in particular, great ball fake here to Alvin Kamara. And it's just a quick turn and release. And the throw is fast enough to beat the DB over the top right there. Get it to Olave for the touchdown. I love the decision to go with the ball fake because you're going to get on the left of your screen here. You're going to get the DB to kind of crash down because you got to worry about Alvin, obviously. But just a great throw from Rattler there. And, you want to see more of that, obviously, in the red zone. And you want to see that Olave kind of connection get on the right track. I think that's one thing that can improve. I think that Rattler's connection with Olave is just not where I'd like it to be. And I'd imagine they'd probably feel the same way. I think they could level up their chemistry in a positive way for this team. This one here, there's a big narrative. Are the Saints letting Rattler push the ball deep? Are they giving him the opportunity to take chances? There's some people that feel like they're not letting him, and I don't know why that would be the case. Why would the Saints want to limit what their quarterback's allowed to do on the football field? That literally would make no sense for this team. But in this particular situation, and again, this is just one play here, although we have another that I'll bring up in a second, Rattler's got the opportunity to let this thing rip. Watch this play kind of like just come out here. We'll go back to the beginning of it, but right here, you might think in the moment, because this pass ends up getting thrown to Alvin, that it is designed play to Alvin, because you do have Kendre Miller kind of rolling out to be a lead blocker for him. And it is possible. But Rattler's going through his reads. He's going through his reads. Why isn't that ball ripped to Brandon Cooks by the 40-yard line? And that would have been a big chunk play. A big chunk play. I mean, again, it's easy to kind of just pause the screen and be like, oh, this guy was open. And I know it doesn't always work that way. In this particular play, I'll let it run. You tell me if Brandon Cooks is open or not, and if Rattler has the opportunity to hit him, which he's going through his reads. This is what confuses me. So either he's kind of half-assing going through that read for Brandon Cooks because he's looking at him, or he just doesn't think he can make that throw. But you end up throwing it to Alvin, and it is a minimal gain. If anything, it's no gain. And had that ball gone to Cooks, obviously it's an explosive play for this team. Now let's get into Kendre Miller. I mean, I can't get over how well he played against the Bills. I think this is hopefully the start of many great games for him. And that touchdown run was special. And great job by McCoy clearing the lane. But right here, it's a one-on-one. And Kendre does a damn good job beating that defender, breaking one tackle, breaking a second tackle, breaking a third one, although that one kind of left in the dust there with Cooks blocking. And then he hits pay dirt right there. Just a great job by Kendre Miller. He was phenomenal. Another one right here. Great job by McCoy, kind of sealing off that block with Trevor Penning. And then Cesar Ruiz, man, I know we rip him, and obviously he's going to miss some time, right? 4 to 6 weeks. It could be with that ankle injury. Excellent block here. Now it's easy. He's going up against a DB. He's got to win that matchup every single time. But still clears the lane. And obviously Kendre, big run right there for the Saints. He was, like I said, phenomenal. Phenomenal performance from Kendre Miller. Another one here. I mean, this is one where you're just hoping that you don't get stuffed. Does a great job kind of juking into the middle of the lane. And then he just runs hard through traffic. So one of those running backs that's going to fall forward. I know it sounds ridiculous, but Kendre really does a good job of being a violent runner. Now here, just throwing it out to him. See what he can do as a receiver. Positive play for the Saints. And I think those are the ones that you want to see too, because it's kind of easy for your quarterback as well. You know, you're not putting a ton on his plate. You're just getting the ball in the hands of a playmaker while he's on the run, which I do like. Get his feet moving early. And see what Kendre Miller could do. Saints utilized him extremely well. Extremely well. Now, back to, did the Saints give Rattler the chance to throw the ball deep? Here's another one right here. All right, right here on the drop, you're going to see a lot of commotion over the middle of the field. I get that. Right here, it kind of disperses. And I know it's not going to be an easy throw. It would be a layered throw that you have to make in this situation. But Chris Olave, as soon as he's going to break to the inside of the field, right there, like, you had a chance. Now, the ball's already out because he throws it to Alvin. But I'll wait till here. Ball's not out yet. Alvin's in front of him. You know it's going to be a short gain, if anything. That ball's got to get ripped to Olave. And Olave's got a lot of open grass right here in the middle of the field. And Rattler's got a strong enough arm that he could make that throw. I know it will be a tight window throw, but he should be able to make it. Obviously doesn't. And again, I thought Rattler was fine against Buffalo. He's not the reason they lost. I don't think that his performance was one where I'm like, oh, it's just not going to work. But this is a theme with him. He just doesn't push the ball downfield. And I know Saints fans want to defend everything he does, and I get that. I want the Saints to have a franchise quarterback. Badly. But franchise quarterbacks have to see this. It can't be happening this consistently. And unfortunately with Rattler, he's developed a lot this year. He's taking less sacks. He's using his feet really well. He's limiting turnovers. Those are all positives. And those are all signs of a guy that has put in the work over the summer. And I commend him for that. And I'm very happy about that. If he's going to take that next step, though, and if he's going to hold on to this starting job, throws like this have to be made. You can't just be dumping it off to Alvin and hoping for something there, which, by the way, doesn't end up even getting completed. So stuff like that, to me, those are the concerns. And I'll try to go back to the Cooks one as well. He's got to make this throw too. I mean, it's a difference between settling for a yard or gaining maybe 20, 30 yards on this play. If he just rips it to Cooks, the ball's still in his hands. He went through his read, didn't even, I guess felt like he couldn't make that throw. And there you are. Because at this point in his read, he's looking at Cooks. And he just kind of pats the ball and settles for Alvin in the flat, which again, could have been the design. But the opportunities are there. And I thought Kellen called a really nice game. So in terms of the negatives, that would be kind of one of the negatives. Obviously, I talked about the positives before. I think that, Kendre Miller was exceptional and Jonas Sanker was excellent as well. So Saints ultimately fall 31-19 to the Bills, but I think there were a lot more positives in this game. Well, way more positives than the Seattle game. And I said this and I'll hold to it as we sit here and what are we, about 5 days away from week 5 matchup against the Giants. If the Saints are able to give the same performance against the Giants, I believe they will win their first game of the season. But it's got to look similar to this in order for that to happen. And we'll see if they do just that. So let us know in the comment section below, guys. What do you think about the Saints-Bills game overall? Sanker's performance, Kendre Miller's performance. Do you believe that's a sign of things to come? Or do you think that's maybe just a one-week anomaly? And as for Spencer Rattler, are you worried about him? Do you think he's going to figure it out? What's your take on the lack of explosive plays in the passing game? Comment below. And as always, guys, make sure to subscribe to Boot Crew Media to get more from the Straight Up Saints podcast, the destination for the Who Dat